Phase 1. The internal audit. Know your company. Before you even think about downloading a dating app or walking into a bar, you have to look in the mirror. In business, you cannot hire the right staff if you don't know what your company actually does. If Apple tried to hire a head chef instead of a software engineer, the company would collapse. Yet, I see women doing this every single day. You don't know who you are or where you're going, so you're just looking for a warm body to fill the empty chair next to you. You need to conduct an internal audit. What is the mission statement of You, Inc.? Are you building a global empire that requires a partner who is comfortable being a supportive co-pilot? Or are you building a quiet, localized life that requires a partner who values stability over ambition? You cannot have both. You cannot order the bad boy rock star and expect him to perform like the steady suburban accountant. That is a supply chain failure on your part. Write it down. What are your core values? Not, I like hiking and sushi. Those are hobbies. I'm talking about corporate values, integrity, financial discipline, religious alignment, geographic location. If you don't know what you're selling, you will accept any offer that comes across the table, and that is how you end up sold short. Phase 2. The job description, the non-negotiables. Once you know your mission, you write the job description. In the corporate world, this is a detailed document. It lists the must-haves and the nice-to-haves. Here is where you are failing. You are confusing perks with qualifications. Tall, dark, and handsome is a perk. That's the free coffee in the break room. It's nice, but it doesn't keep the lights on. Emotionally intelligent, fiscally responsible, and honest are qualifications. That is the degree required to do the job. You are hiring men because they have nice eyes, perks, while ignoring the fact that they have no ambition and a temper problem, lack of qualifications. Here is what a real relationship job description looks like. It focuses on 3 pillars of compatibility. Fiscal policy. Do you share a philosophy on money? If you are a saver and he is a spender, you are heading for bankruptcy. I don't care how much you love him, financial stress is the #1 killer of mergers. Operational style. Communication. How does he handle conflict? In business, we call this crisis management. When the building is on fire, does he grab a hose or does he pour gasoline on it? Does he shut down? Does he scream? You need a partner who can sit at the negotiation table, not a toddler who throws a tantrum. Long-term strategy. Life goals. Do you want kids? When? Where do you want to live? If your 5-year plan is a penthouse in New York and his 5-year plan is a goat farm in Vermont, the merger is off. Stop hoping one of you will change. That is bad strategy. Make your list. These are your non-negotiables. These are the deal breakers. If a candidate does not meet the criteria on this list, you do not grant an interview. Period. The screening process. Scarcity versus abundance. Now let's talk about sourcing candidates. This is where the psychology gets messy. Most of you operate from a scarcity mindset. You act like the labor market is empty. You think, oh, he's the only guy who has looked at me in 6 months. I better make this work. Imagine a CEO hiring for a VP of sales. The first guy walks in, he's unqualified, he's rude, and he's chewing gum. Does the CEO say, well, nobody else applied today, so you're hired? Absolutely not. The CEO keeps the position vacant because a bad hire is more expensive than an empty chair. You need to adopt an abundance mindset. There are billions of people on this planet. You are not looking for any partner. You are looking for the right partner. When you date with a scarcity mindset, you overlook red flags. You see a resume gap, he won't joke about his exes, and you ignore it. You see a history of firing, he can't keep a job, and you make excuses for him. Stop it. You are the prize. You are the Fortune 500 company. You are offering equity in your life. Do not give away shares to someone who hasn't earned them. Phase 4, the probationary period. Due diligence. Congratulations, you found a candidate who looks good on paper. You've gotten a few dates. In business, we do not grant tenure on day 1. We have a probationary period. Usually it's 90 days. Why? Because anyone can fake it for 90 days. Sociopaths, narcissists, and lazy people can all hold up a mask for 3 months. They can be charming, they can buy flowers, they can say all the right things. Your job during the first 3 months is not to fall in love. Your job is due diligence. You are investigating. You need to see the candidate under pressure. Take him somewhere where things will go wrong. Watch how he treats the waiter who messed up his order. Watch what happens when you set a boundary. Say no to something small and watch his reaction. Does he respect the boundary or does he try to negotiate it? Someone's reaction to your boundaries tells you everything you need to know about their character. If you promote him to boyfriend or husband based on the honeymoon phase, you are promoting someone based on their interview performance, not their work ethic. Smart CEOs fire fast. If you see incompetence in the first 90 days, you terminate the contract. You don't hope he gets better. You cut your losses. Phase 5, the fixer-upper trap. You are not a rehabilitation center. In real estate, you buy a fixer-upper because it's cheap and you hope to build equity by doing the work yourself. In relationships, this is a disaster. You meet a guy who has potential. He's a little emotionally unavailable, he's between jobs, he's got some maturity issues, but you think, I can fix him. With my love and support, he will become the CEO. Listen to me closely. You are looking for a partner, not a project. You are not a rehabilitation center for broken men. You are not a life coach. You are not his mother. If you were hiring a CFO, would you hire a guy who failed math and say, I'll teach him algebra on the weekends? No. You hire someone who is already qualified. You cannot love someone into having ambition. You cannot communicate someone into having integrity. You cannot patience someone into growing up. People only change when they want to change. If you invest 5 years trying to renovate a man, you are going to end up exhausted, resentful, and empty-handed. Hire for character. Train for skills. You can teach a man how to load the dishwasher your way. You cannot teach him how to be a good person. Phase 6, radical transparency, terms and conditions. So how do we implement this? We use radical transparency. In business, contracts are clear. Everyone knows the deliverables. In dating, you are terrified to say what you want because you don't want to seem too intense on the first date. I don't want to seem too intense on the first date. I don't want him to think I'm crazy. This is self-sabotage disguised as being cool. The cool girl is a myth that leaves you broke. If stating your standards scares him away, he was never the right candidate. You didn't lose a guy, you dodged a bullet. You just saved yourself 6 months of wasted time. That is an efficiency win. State your terms early. I am dating with the intention of marriage. I value financial transparency. I do not tolerate the silent treatment. I want children in the next 3 years. If he flinches, good. Let him run. You are clearing the market for the serious investors. The right candidate, the one who wants the job, will appreciate the clarity. He will respect that you know what you want. Phase 7, the sunk cost fallacy. Finally, we have to talk about the concept that keeps you stuck in dead-end relationships for years, the sunk cost fallacy. In economics, a sunk cost is money you have already spent and cannot get back. The fallacy is thinking, well, I've already invested $100,000 in this failing business. I have to keep going or I'll lose it all. No. The money is gone. If you keep going, you will lose another $100,000. The smart business move is to cut your losses and pivot. In relationships, you say, but Olivia, we've been together for 4 years. We live together. Our families know each other. I don't care. If the relationship is draining you, if the numbers don't add up, if the ROI is negative, the 4 years are gone. You can't get them back. But do you want to waste the next 4 years? Staying in a bad relationship because of the time you've already invested is like continuing to eat a meal that gives you food poisoning just because you paid for it. Put down the fork, walk away. A strategic woman knows that walking away isn't failure. It is damage control. It is preserving your remaining assets, your youth, your energy, your love, for a venture that will actually yield a return. Conclusion: the executive mindset. I know what some of you are thinking. Olivia, this sounds so cold. This sounds calculating. Where is the romance? Where is the magic? Let me ask you, How is the magical approach working out for you? How much time have you spent crying over men who were never qualified to hold your hand? How many years have you wasted on potential? Real romance isn't about drama and uncertainty. Real romance is safety. Real romance is building a legacy with someone you trust implicitly. And you cannot build a legacy on a shaky foundation. You are the CEO of your life. It is time to stop acting like an employee waiting for instructions. Take charge of the hiring process. Vet the candidates, check the references, set the standards, and do not be afraid to say, you are not a good culture fit for this organization. You are building a life, a family, and a future. That requires executive-level decision-making. Stop handing out the keys to the kingdom to the first person who knocks on the door.
If you are ready to stop dating like a teenager and start vetting like a boss, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And I want to hear from you in the comments. I want you to write down one non-negotiable requirement, one deal breaker that you are adding to your job description today. No more compromising. I'm Olivia. This is The Raw Truth. Class dismissed.